Alright, we need some ideas. Come on, hit me. What do we got? Okay, Jughead, okay, is kidnapped by his twin brother, yes, who is running a drug den out of the town's oldest fountain. And is also Cheryl's godfather. Yes. Now, I am by no means the first one to say this, but I think the question really does have to be asked. What the fuck happened to Riverdale? There's just so much to unpack here. The season 3 finale just aired this week, so if you haven't been caught up on all that, I don't want to spoil anything for you, but let's take it a step back first and just talk about my personal journey with Riverdale. So when Riverdale was first promoted, we saw the pictures and the trailers and stuff like that, I had absolutely no interest in it. I thought it would just look like another cheesy CW show, and I wasn't gonna watch it at all. I don't actually remember what made me watch the first episode, but I was pleasantly surprised to find that it was actually pretty entertaining. I mean, it did have that cheese value that CW shows tend to have, but there was something really different and interesting and in this core mystery that I really, really liked. And I do think for the most part, season 1 was really strong. It had its weird moments, like the whole Archie hooking up with Miss Grundy thing and stuff like that. But overall, I think it was good. It had an entertaining mystery, the characters really developed and changed, and the ships were interesting without overwhelming the show. I feel like that's where we've kind of gotten to the point on the TV show now, is that the ships themselves have kind of taken over the plot points at certain times, and it's just I mean, look at poor Josie. Josie, I am so happy they picked up the, Katie Keene show, because she, I feel will hopefully now get a storyline. Poor Josie has just been through, I don't know. I can't say I like her or don't like her, because she does nothing. Think of all the guys they've put her with. First, I think she was with Reggie for a hot second, they hooked up, and people were oh, that could be interesting. I could get behind that, and the Riverdale writers were psych. Then they put her with Chuck, which everyone was we don't like Chuck, but I mean, if this is going to be his redemption arc, cool. Then, the actor who played Chuck got cast as a pretty much regular on Black Lightning, so bye Chuck. Then she had a thing with Sweet Pea at the beginning of season 3, a summer thing, that everyone was oh, this is so cute, I like this, let's develop it. Not really, because then they put her with Archie, and I'm just damn it, because literally Archie has, I think the only girl he has not kissed left on that show is Tony. So, Tony, be careful around Archie, because he's coming for you next. Literally, it's so weird that there's these characters I feel they don't know what to do with, and it butchers their characterization, And I feel that's what we've seen going on from season 2, the beginning, to season 3. Cheryl, I would say, Josie, they don't know, because Josie, what I always loved about her was she kind of was the one that didn't fall for Archie's bullshit, his kind of, good boy smile and stuff like that. As much as I like Archie, she was the one that was kind of everyone that gets involved with you kind of ends up in more trouble than you ever do, so, I'm not gonna be a part of this. And, she literally said that when I think he first went to her for help with music, and then where do they end up? Dating. So I'm just why can we not flesh out these characters well enough? We also have Cheryl, who I feel is just a character that I love, but that is just so wishy-washy in her characterization, and I think that's another reason of the writers don't know what to do with her. I think they're always treading this line of do we want to make her the villain, kind of out of this group, or do we want to make her a part of this group? And for season 1, that was all good and fine, but the more we find out about her, the fact that she is Betty's cousin and has a strong familia sense and really wants to protect Betty, but then we'll throw her under the bus at certain points, and it's how she's willing to help, but then she's all in it for herself. It's just you never know what her mind is, and it's not a case of oh, this is an interesting dynamic, she could go anyway, a Loki situation. It's the writers literally just toss a coin and decide what to do with her for that episode. And then there's also Kevin, who I feel just constantly gets pushed to the side, and when he does get storylines, they make no sense for his characterization. So I honestly feel and I've said this since probably halfway through season 2, the worst thing that happened to Riverdale was that it got picked up for full seasons. I feel the writers had a pretty good grasp on being able to make a compelling mystery and a compelling story for a 13 episode kind of half season thing, and that's why season 1 worked so well, because it was really, the main focus was on this murder of Jason Blossom, and everything kind of branched out from that, and then it all connected back at the end. Now that they have, what, like 20, 22 episode long seasons, there's a lot more to fill and a lot more to drag out, and you can really feel when things are kind of stretching and when, you know, they're kind of just like meandering to not get there quite yet. I mean, with season 2, I did not like the Black Hood line storyline at all, and I had it figured out pretty much from the first episode that it was Hal, because he was like the only one that fit the description, and even then, to get there and like spend all these months, all this time invested in it, and then just find out at the end that you were right all along, and it was like all these, you know, secret things, like, oh, there's a second Black Hood, oh, this could be it, oh, Chick is a whole storyline. Like, it just felt stupid. Like, it just felt like filler time, and not like this was actually advancing us to a bigger storyline with the Black Hood. So, like, I just feel like they don't know how to spread out a whole season. And I think really what they should do, honestly, is they should not make every season so focused on this big mystery. I know that's kind of what Riverdale is, and it seems kind of counterintuitive because it worked so well for the first season, but I just feel like, especially with the way CW is set up, where like they'll have a winter break where you don't get episodes for a little bit, then they'll have like a 2-week break. Like, if you could have something, I feel like, that maybe is like a smaller mystery that has to get solved, let's say within like the first 12 episodes, and then you can set up like another mystery that has to get set up in the latter 12. Like, if you set up 2 different mysteries, I think that would work a lot better, like pace-wise and just character-wise, because you get these things where it turns out where it just, characters seem so out of place. Like, what was Archie's whole storyline in this season? Can anyone tell me? I mean, in season 2 at least, there was some connection because he felt guilty about not being able to protect the people he loved from the Black Hood. So as stupid as his storyline was, it still branched off the main storyline. But this season, he was the sacrifice for the Gargoyle King, and that was kind of his main thing that connected to it, and then he decided to be a boxer. It's like the twists nowadays seem more like they're just throwing darts at a board and seeing what sticks to what word, you know, like the whole thing with the farm turning out to be an organ harvest like place. I was just like, really? Like, this is what, like, compare that to like the compelling twist of how Jason's dad was the one that killed him. Like, that was shocking when we found it out. Compare that to when you found out that, like, they're organ harvesters, and you're just sitting there like, what the fuck? Like, actually, how many times this season have you said, what the fuck? Because there's just so much that happened. And the sad thing was, I was really excited for season 3. I was excited to put all the Black Hood stuff behind us. I was like, I didn't like season 2, but the good thing about that is once a mystery ends, a mystery pretty much ends. So I was excited. I was intrigued by this whole G&G thing. I think the one episode that they did really, really great was the flashback season to the parents, and when they were younger. I think it was a great idea to have the actors who play the teenagers play their parents as teenagers, and it just really allowed a bunch of them to showcase like their different kind of acting skill set, particularly Lily Reinhart. So I hope they do more with that, because I think that was very, very interesting. Somewhere along the line of adding in the farm stuff, adding in like this supernatural element, and I don't know if that's because they kind of want people to think they're going to connect to Sabrina. It's like they lost themselves along the way, and it's like they have these 5 storylines that are just not connecting even when they kind of force the pieces to connect. And I think a lot of that is, you know, this happens on shows, they don't want to get rid of like villains, or they don't want to like definitively give you an answer to something. So like, look at like, they're so reluctant to get rid of Veronica's dad. You can tell when it's like, he should just be, I feel like, one and done. Let's move on. Let's not make him this big bad that's gonna shadow over the whole series. And then look at Chick. I knew Chick was gonna come back as soon as we didn't see him missing in season 2, you know, like they never found him. I was like, Chick is definitely there. And the funny thing is, it was only like Monday night when I was really thinking about like, okay, who is this stupid Gargoyle King? Because it's not freaking Jason Blossom. Like, there's no way. Dude's dead. It's not him. And I was like, oh, maybe it's Chick. So that's when like I actually thought it, and then to see it on Wednesday, like that was less of a shock because I had thought of it. But had I not thought of it, I probably would have been like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Because it's just like, there's so much where you're just like, what the fuck? Like the Black Hood coming back and attacking Betty, and then all of a sudden being gone. This whole thing with ships, like look in season 2 when it was like Veronica and Jughead were like, oh, we should kiss, so then, you know, the score's even with Archie and Betty kissing, and it was all like a Bughead thing. It almost seems like sometimes they write the scripts just to get like the like key like hashtags that people will be like tweeting or talking about, and that becomes more important than the actual storyline. It's disheartening because I feel like there's so much that they could do with it, and season 1 shows you that they do have, if not a perfect, at least a pretty strong grasp on how to write a good mystery when it's condensed and in that 13 episodes. I have to say, after the season finale, with everything being wrapped up with the Gargoyle King pretty well, I mean, I know we still have stuff with like Alice and all them, but I think I'm throwing in the towel when it comes to Riverdale. Like, I'll definitely probably like keep an eye on what happens, like just on Tumblr and stuff I'll hear, but like, I'm removing the series recording off the DVR, which you know is like giving someone their stuff back after a breakup. Like, we are done. It was fun while it lasted, but I'm jumping off this train. I'm not going to go down the road I went with Vampire Diaries, where I hung on too long and it kind of ruined these characters for me. So yeah, if you have seen Riverdale, please feel free to leave your thoughts about it. What was the most WTF moment for you in the whole series and in season 3? There's just so much we could pick from. So yeah, if you're going to continue with Riverdale, good luck, but I'm out. So thank you guys all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!